All right, I appreciate you being here for this video, and I've had a lot of questions lately and have had a lot of discussions with people about how to start a spiritual practice during a crisis. And specifically, obviously, the crisis at this point in time in the world is the coronavirus and COVID-19. And I'll tell you that starting a spiritual practice in the midst of a crisis is not the best thing, but for those people who do not have a spiritual practice, starting one during a crisis is the best time to start it. You don't want to wait until the crisis is over, because there's a lot of lessons that we learn through difficult times and difficult events in life. In the section of this video, I'll put a list of books that I recommend in starting spiritual practice. Now, the way that I define spiritual practice is probably different from other people. The way that I would define a spiritual practice would be learning through different modalities the way to go within yourself and to really learn as much as you can about yourself and your connection to Source, to God, and ripping and tearing and shedding all of the conditioning and everything that you've come up with through your environment, through society. Depending on what age you are, you may have more to shed than others. And so that, to me, is a spiritual practice of learning to go within, learning as much as you can about yourself, and focusing on your connection to Source, whatever that is for you. And I think that learning to do that in a crisis that we are experiencing right now is especially difficult. And so I want to give you some concrete ways that I feel like you can start that practice. The first way, obviously, is to read some books about it. And now everybody has a little bit extra time, some more than others, but hopefully you've got some extra time and you can read. I don't think that you're going to be able to really get entrenched in a deep spiritual practice, whether it's through reading or whatever, unless you obviously devote time to it. But also, you're going to have to read about it, read some books, watch videos and such. So I would suggest that you do as much reading as you can. The other thing I would suggest is you start a meditation practice. And the majority of the world out there, the majority of the people in the world out there, they don't know how to meditate. They don't want to meditate. They think it's weird. They think that they're not going to get anything out of it. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, it is weird to start with. And it does take some practice, which is why it's called a spiritual practice. So most of us have a very difficult time sitting with ourselves and learning how to deal with our thoughts about people that we're in relationship with, about people that we work with, about our future, about our past, whatever it might be. A lot of people have trouble sitting with their thoughts through a meditative process. And obviously that is a huge part of a spiritual practice, is going through meditation. The third thing that I would mention is making a list of affirmations, of positive affirmations, because ultimately what you're trying to do is shed all of the negative beliefs and the beliefs that you have formed, such as I'm not good enough, or that's never going to happen for me, or this is the worst thing that could have ever happened. I'm never going to pull out of it. Those are the worst things that you can be telling yourself over and over again in your mind. You need positive affirmations that are reinforcing who you are on the inside, because all those things on the outside ultimately don't define who you are. So you need positive affirmations like, I am good enough. Not I will be good enough when X happens, which is the way the majority of us have lived or live our lives. And that is, we're always waiting for the next thing. I'll be okay when whatever happens. And that's just it's not a healthy way to live. So you want to make a list of positive affirmations. There's plenty of resources out there on the internet. You can Google it. And you want to have, a good list of those. Maybe some that have to do with finances, some that have to do with your family, with your relationship with yourself. All those things, your health, all those things are important. And they're important because what you're doing is you are reaching out and trying to retrain your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is training itself and is trained no matter what you consciously think about it. So what do I mean by that? If you're the kind of person, and there's a lot of us and them out there who walk around saying, I'm not good enough, I could never do that, I don't have the money for that, money doesn't grow on trees, whatever the situation might be, you're training your subconscious mind to believe those things. And the more you repeat them, then the more entrenched they get in your mind. So what you want to do is you want to retrain your mind, retrain your brain, retrain your subconscious mind to believe that everything's always working out for you, to believe that you can do anything, to believe that money and abundance is coming to you. And those things are so important because many times we never get started on something, or we stop something right before we get to the point of a breakthrough. And we just stop because we get tired of it, or we can't keep going, or we can't push through. And so I think it's so important for you to come up with those positive affirmations and the things that you need to use to retrain your brain. The other things that I would mention is I would suggest that you search online and look up and find resources on how to retrain your brain, how to retrain your subconscious mind. Download one of the meditation apps. There's so many good ones out there. And ultimately, I think what you'll find in retraining your subconscious mind is you can use affirmations, you can use reading and memorizing and audio books. You can also go even deeper into things like rapid transformational therapy or hypnotherapy. You can also go into breath work. Breath work is so powerful. Breath work is a way to really connect with yourself, connect with the earth, connect with source. And also, it's a way for you to discover and release trauma from past life experiences, a lot of which you may not even know were traumatic for you. And a lot of us, as we move through this coronavirus pandemic, all those past traumas that we've had in our lives are coming up for us in various ways, in how we respond and how we look at things and how we deal with things. And so I think it's important for you to seek out those things so that you can begin a spiritual practice, and so that you can take the time, because right now a lot of people have a lot of extra time. And you can either look at this one of two ways. You can look at this as the greatest gift that you could have ever been given in this period of time, for you to begin a spiritual practice, or you can look at it the opposite, and that is, this is the worst thing and it's awful, it shouldn't have happened, and whatever. And I would challenge you to choose, for you to choose in your mind that this is the greatest thing that could have ever happened to you, because it has allowed you to step back and reprioritize and figure out what's important to you in your life. Is it your job? Is it your career? Is it money? What is it? And what are you afraid of exactly? Those are things that having a good, solid spiritual practice can do for you. And there's so many resources out there. There's courses that you can do online. There's books you can read. There's apps you can download. There's coaches you can hire. There's so many things out there that you can tap into in order to help yourself to get to a point where you feel solid and you feel content as you move through a traumatic experience like we're going through right now. And so that when you get to the other side, then you're going to be better off for it. And that's really the goal, because we learn not through people telling us things or us seeing things. We learn through our life experience. And I don't want you to miss the opportunity as it relates to this life experience. And this is a big lesson, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But you get to choose. You get to choose how you respond to it and how you react to it and how you are in the world. Who are you going to be? Are you going to be the person who can't function because of fear and is unwilling to do anything about it? Are you going to be the person who lets this be the end rather than the beginning? Because you get to choose. It's not easy. And it's going to be very difficult for you to do it by yourself. But there's so many resources out there and so many people much wiser and much smarter than me who are out there to help us and to help us to begin a spiritual practice even in a time of crisis. And that's the point. Because we put off so much. We put off so many things. I'll handle that tomorrow. I'll do that. I'll do that next year. We'll do this. And eventually it gets to a point where you've just basically postponed your life away. And don't do that. It doesn't matter if you're 65, if you're 85, if you're 25, or if you're 15. It doesn't matter. You can start today to begin a spiritual practice so that you can become grounded, you can become more connected to your source, you can become more powerful than you ever thought possible. And that's what I challenge you to do. I also challenge you to sit down right now and write down these words. Everything is always working out for me. Write that down, and anytime anything comes up where you get down or depressed or anxious, whether it's during this coronavirus pandemic or afterwards, sit down and just write that out 10 times and say it to yourself and feel it in your heart. Feel it in your heart and your soul that everything's always working out for me. And repeat it to yourself out loud and just learn how to believe that, because it is. Everything's always working out for you, just like it is for me. You just have to believe it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's helped. That's my prayer. That's why I'm doing this. I hope it helps, even if it only helps one person. I just want you to be well and to be healthy and to allow this to be a starting point for your growth or a continuation of your growth, and not something that brings you down or causes you to go back in your time of growth. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.